He's a two-time Olympic gold medalist with Team Canada, one of only 21 players in NHL history with 600 or more goals. A two-time Rocket Richard Trophy winner. Today's guest on Domino's Pizza Overtime Legends podcast, Hall of Famer, my buddy, Jerome Iginla. Iggy, great to see you, buddy. You look fantastic.
Hey, you too. Good to see you.
You and I were just reminiscing. You and I have been talking to each other. I mean, I saw you come into the league, play your entire career, go into the Hall of Fame. You and I have been buddies for so many years, and you're one of the guys who you just cannot wipe the smile off your face. I got to tell you, buddy, you've made it for just a great ride sitting back and watching you unfold in this career.
Oh, no, thanks. I've enjoyed watching you. I can't believe we were just talking. I don't know if I'm supposed to bring it up, but 50 years until you can barely look 50 years old now. So that's pretty awesome. I've enjoyed watching you for a long time.
I appreciate that, pal. You know what the funny thing is? I was thinking about this the other day. Everybody likes the "where were you when" story. Where were you in the Henderson goal? You weren't even born yet. But, you know, I know where I was. I know where I was at Lemieux's goal in the 87 Canada Cup. I was right up against the glass. I know where I was in the OT winner at the 2010 Vancouver Olympics. I was in the building. And we all know where you were. you were just a few feet away from the hero, the golden goal hero, Sidney Crosby, making it happen. What was it like to be right in the middle of one of the most iconic goals, one of the most iconic moments in Canadian hockey history?
Oh, it was so intense, so awesome. Every feeling you can imagine. Like when you're on the bench, we're nervous. Then you all in your shift, and you just work as hard as you can. You know, you're hoping, you're believing, and then you get on the bench, you're nervous again. You know, you're cheering, and it was so awesome because it was obviously, as an athlete, the big moments are exciting as a team, and if you win it, the more on the line, and you always say that. But when when we were in the dressing room, we knew, before we came out in overtime, we'd given up that late goal. And before we came out, it was either going to be unbelievable excitement and joy across the country or devastation, so in sporting terms. So it was one of the coolest moments I've ever. It's what you dream of when you're on the backyard rink and you're fooling around, and to get to be on the ice and see Sid score and how happy Canadians were, and it was truly awesome, and I'm very thankful and very blessed to been on that team and on the ice. And it was even after, it was like some people jumping around. I swear I was just like, I didn't even know what I did. It was awesome.
Iggy, moments like that really obviously impact our lives. You've had a lot of stuff impact your life because of the game of hockey. That specific moment, though, how many times do you get to relive it? How often do people come up to you and ask you about it? Or how has it impacted your life, your memories overall?
Yeah, and people do come up a lot, and kids, and I get parents that come, and it's a long time ago. I played in the NHL or in Canada, and parents will say, "Oh, this is Iggy," and the kid will look at them like, "I have no idea who that is." But then they'll be like, He was part of the Golden Goal in 2010," and then they're like, "Oh, great," like, so it's pretty cool just to be associated with that and to be on that team. And a lot of Canadians and young Canadians, like you say, they remember watching that or seeing the highlights and being on the edge of their seat. So 2010 brings them back, and we can kind of share that. Or it's really cool. And uh, it was, also being part of that Olympics. I got to be a part of three, and they were all very special. Salt Lake was really cool. First time Canada had won in men's hockey in 50 years. Got to be on the team with Mario Lemieux. Gretzky was a part of it. Eiserman. But this one was really cool, and proud to be Canadian because the whole atmosphere in Vancouver and BC was like they were celebrating for 2 weeks, the whole Olympics. And it was I thought it was the best atmosphere of any of those Winter Olympics all the way around the city, best supported, and that was Canada. So that was pretty awesome.
Sid had the great quote about you. He said, Iggy was the heartbeat of the team. We counted on him. He played with fire, but he made everyone around him feel calm. What what is it about your nature? Like you talked before about how you're really, really nervous in the room and then you're excited on the ice. What is it about your nature that guys who play with you constantly use that term with you? He's so calm. Like, where does that come from?
Well, it wasn't, it wasn't always the case. I remember, that's a nice compliment. But when I first came in the NHL, we'd be playing Edmonton and the Oilers, and coming up from Calgary, being a part of those games, I'd be so excited and nervous all day trying to be good back at home, and um, being from Edmonton, and I would be so flat when the game came. And so I think every player does it a little bit differently. And I found that I had to like not think about hockey all day, nothing about hockey the day before, just so that I could relax and drop the puck. I was just excited to go out and compete and try to find those emotions and and some people have to be ramped up and that's fine. You know what I mean? But I had the opposite. So yeah, it was kind of learning curve but I love that's what I miss most is just getting out there and competing and battling with the teammates and I was one of those kids sometimes when you're growing up in school sports, whatever, you go too far, you play with your friends and then they're like, that's too hard, it's too much, you know what I mean? I'd be like, oh sorry, like I love competing and wrestling and all that stuff.
The great thing, Iggy, when I look back on what you've accomplished is um, that year, especially in 2010, '02 was amazing because you guys made history. The first Canada won gold in 50 years. I get that. But I mean, Joe Thornton and Duncan Keith both just went into the Hockey Hall of Fame. They were on that team. Marty Brodeur, we've had him on this show, Hall of Famer. Pronger, Weber, the list goes on in terms of the Hall of Famers, and including yourself, Hall of Famer. What's it mean to you to be considered part of something that was so spectacular, such a great moment, but also you weren't just a guy. You were the guy who set up the goal. You were a Hall of Famer amongst a group of Hall of Famers. As a kid growing up in the game, I know, we all dream about certain moments and scoring the big goal and being a part of that. But did you ever in your wildest imagination think you'd be part of this group?
No, no, honestly, no. When growing up, I'm trying to make it to the NHL and dreaming of playing in the NHL. And one of the most exciting moments I've ever had was just my first game, playing in the playoffs, way back in '96. And it was like just arriving and being there, playing one games. You dream of that through minor hockey, watching I saw Thornton reference it. I watch a lot of the Rock'em Sock'em hockeys on bus trips, and you just imagine. And all of a sudden, I'm playing against Chelios and Bronick, and on the line with Theo Fleury. It was the coolest. One of the coolest games was my first game, and just that I actually made it. And then once you get there, you never feel like you've arrived. You're always pushing, and that's the neat thing when I go back and I hear other people's stories. I watch those Hall of Fame speeches and learn from other players is that confidence and you think like Sid or Thornton or whoever would never battle any of those confidence issues. It's part of sports. It's part of life. You get your ups and downs, and it's a cool part of sports. So, no, it was like you're just trying to get in the league, and then it's year by year, and then you're trying to get more ice time. You want to be on you want to go from a fourth line to a third line and up and all that stuff. And no, and then it just accumulates. Like I remember I was fortunate, very blessed to score 600 goals in the league, but trying to get my first 30 to get to 30, I felt was like, oh my gosh. And then if you do the math, when I remember seeing people like it just happened. You just keep working year in, year out. But saying that, it's unbelievable. And I cannot believe, Ovi, just hit 900.
Oh,
When you do the math, 20 years of, 45 a year, and like, it is so ridiculous. It's so awesome. And congrats to him, and what an accomplishment.
you flew by your first NHL game. I want to get back to that because um, you were finishing up your major junior year, and so they brought you up at the end of the season, which was a long year. So you never played a regular season game in your first NHL season. You got thrown right into the playoffs, got an assist in your first game, and a goal in your second game. Did you figure that was it? Like this NHL was way easier than they were telling you it was going to be?
Oh no, not at all. But it was like so we lost out in Kamloops the day before in the semifinals of the WHL, the night before. And my agent Donnie Meehan, he told me when the playoffs are over, we'd agreed on a deal. You'll sign your deal and go up and just hang around with the team if the playoffs and you lose out. So we lost out in Kamloops the night before. We went out as a team. You go out and hang out and kind of reminisce and uh, you know, on the season and just have a good time. And the game the next day in Calgary, Donnie told me, I'm going up and I'm not going to be playing. So just to go up and watch a game. It was an afternoon game. It was literally like 3 o'clock. So I didn't get a lot of sleep, didn't eat a lot. And I got there. They told me, I signed my deal. They told me I was playing. I couldn't, I was like, okay, you can't turn that down. I can't say, well, I didn't get a great night's sleep or I didn't eat a lot. So, and then it got better. And then, so I thought, okay, I'll just play a little bit. And then they told me I would play center, and I was centering Theo Fleury and German Titov, and whatever line Theo was on was the first line. So I was like, oh my, like, it was the coolest thing. And the most surreal thing when you say that, because it was, all like the night before I was watching all the highlights of NHL games. And then all of a sudden I'm on, I'm on, I'm playing against Ronick, shooting on Belfour. Like I say, it was the coolest, most surreal thing.
Speaking of cool and surreal, like by 2010, you had already established yourself as a Hall of Famer. You had so many goals, so much. But in '02, you were still kind of on the learning curve, making your way up. You had established yourself as a true NHLer, obviously, because you got picked on the team. You got to play against guys like Lemieux and Sakic and Yzerman. Then in '02 at Salt Lake, you walk into a dressing room and their jerseys are hanging up in the room along with yours. What was that moment like for you?
Yeah, it's one I'll never forget. You get those moments that sear in your brain. And I remember, well, first of all, when I made the team, Gretzky, we had played. Now I can remember, but we played St. Louis the night before, and they were going to announce the team the next day and the next morning. And our Peter Hamlin, my friend, but the PR head of PR at the time, knocked on the door, woke me up, knocked on the door, and said, Wayne Gretzky's on the phone. You know what I mean? And he handed me the phone. And I was so excited, so nervous, and nowhere to fly. And he was just, oh, where'd you play last night? And I honestly could not remember. And I was like, uh, I'm sorry, I can't remember. Like, I was the worst, like really, like, come on. And I just blacked out. It was the coolest. But to get the amazing honor, and then once I walked into that room, it was all the guys that I grew up watching: Marilyn Mew, Joe Sakic, Eisenman. Like I say, I'm rock'em sock'em hockey. All of a sudden, I was on their team, and you could see all the jerseys. And right when you walk in, Captain Marilyn Mew and Eisenman, McKinnis, it went right down Shanahan. It was so cool. And then over in the corner on a makeshift bench was my jersey hanging on with Ryan Smith and Simone Gagne jammed in there. But it was awesome. It was like a uh, minor hockey dressing room, jam packed. It was, but I'll remember that for. I wish I took a picture. We didn't have the camera phones the same way, and I would have loved to have that picture.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, your success, three different Olympic games you went to. You also went to in '06 as well as 10 and '02. Two gold medals, 10 goals, 15 points in 19 games. Huge success. Okay, now this might get you a little emotional. Now your kid, Tej. For those who don't know, your kid is a first round, 6 overall to Utah. Off to another great season with the Kelowna Rockets right now in the Dub. He won gold for Canada at the under 18s. I'm going to ask you what it was like to watch him throw on a Team Canada jersey after all your experiences were. So he won gold already in the under 18s, and he's going to play for Canada at the World Juniors. Take off your Hockey Hall of Fame Iggy hat for a second and tell me how Jerome Iginla, Tej's dad, feels about how you've watched all this unfold for your kid.
Oh, it's I I'm very thankful. Yeah, you're right. It gets a little emotional. Yeah, and it's with we have three kids. My wife Karen and I, and our daughter Jade is 21.
Well, don't worry. But I want to talk about Tej first. I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
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 I can ignore them.
Oh no, no, sorry. Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely very special to have gotten like to see him out there, to see him play for Team Canada U18. Um, it was neat, and U17, but to play nationally for Canada, that was in Finland, and I was over there for two reasons: with Calgary Flames, and watching players and stuff, but also to get to see him play. So it was it was a neat final, like all of it. It's hard to put into words because you get to see what they do, they love to do. You know what they're going through. You know the nerves. You know that the ups and downs. You know that hockey's a great game, and the friendships, and brings back memories of when I was on the U18 team and guys I got to play with and friends with throughout my career. So he's starting that journey, and it's a hard team to make that in Canada, and you don't know what roles, you don't know all those things. So yeah, it brings back the memories. But the biggest thing for me is, as a parent, to get to see him love what he's doing and to been able to share it growing up in all the backyard rink and talk hockey. We still talk hockey all the time. It's I've been very blessed and love that they've loved hockey, and get to see him doing it and playing for Canada is whenever it is, it's something that is I don't want to keep saying cool or amazing, but it means a lot to us, and very happy for him, and it's a big honor for him for sure.
Hey, hockey fans, Domino's Pizza has game night covered. Mix and match any two or more of your favorites for only $8.99 each. Choose from millions of delicious combinations and get any medium two-topping pizzas, oven-baked breads, cheesy pastas, desserts, and more. With Domino's Mix and Match, everyone gets what they're craving. Order now online at domino's.ca or on the app.
I don't know how you do it, man. Like I don't know how you spread yourself so thin to see your kids. I mean, I had a kid who played junior hockey and a kid who was a competitive dancer, and I had a hard time keeping track of that. So you got Tej playing. Now he's going to represent Canada again. You got Joey's playing for the Oil Kings in the Dub, and you got Jade at Brown University, like a great run at Brown University. What's that like for you to try to keep, because I know as parents, you want to try to balance it all out and get a chance to experience all of that. What's that like for you to go through all that?
We love it. Yeah, we love it. Hockey, and earlier getting them into hockey, it was, I was hopeful. You know what I mean? People would always say, "Are they going to play hockey?" Well, I hope so, but we're not going to force them. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I think it's an awesome game, and the friendships and 20 people on a team, and 24 people, and the whole. It's a really neat dynamic, as you know, and so it's a great sport to be a part of. So I was thrilled when they wanted to play, but you didn't want to push them. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're busy, but it's been a great busy. And also working with Craig Conway, it's nice because I do want to get to Calgary. So there's a lot of travel and, but he lets me do a lot, technology, you know what I mean? I can do a lot like that with them. So, yeah, it's been special, but it's not for the faint of heart, competitive sports, as you know. It's like, as a parent, there's ups and downs, there's injuries, there's you have to I was watching the Hall of Fame speeches and the laughing and crying together. Yeah, like they go through all those, and it's not just the gold medal at the U18 team and celebrate, but it's a lot of the ups and downs and learning. I think it's a great sport to prepare for life because daily you're getting critiqued, you're getting um, feedback. You know what I mean? So as a parent, it's a little different role in trying to navigate that. And I have hopefully some good days, and I know the kids would say some days where I probably wasn't the best hockey parent. So but it's been cool.
You've had to navigate more than most. Uh, you were the first Black captain in NHL history in 2003. You've helped now clear the path for others to come behind you, including your own children. I remember in your Hall of Fame speech, you said, and this is your quote: "My dad taught me to believe in myself, even when I was the only black kid on the team. I wouldn't be here without that." Referring to your mom and dad. What does it mean to you, not only watching your kids do what they're doing in hockey at different levels right now, but also knowing that you were a part of making the path somewhat easier because of what you were able to do at a time now almost 25 years ago when you were the first Black captain in NHL history?
Well, it means a lot to me because I do know that growing up, what Grant Fuhr meant to me, and um, Claude Vilgrain, watching him, Tony McKegney, getting to see them and just know that it was possible. Mr. Willie Reed, like,
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch him, but I know he had a way, way tougher path than I did. And um, and so it's neat I've had other Black hockey players over the years, teenagers, some that played pro, some that didn't, but just said that, they followed my career, and they love to see me playing. And I know what that felt like because I love to see Grant Fuhr uh, being an all-star, being a great hockey player and winning Stanley Cup, seeing Claude Vilgrain play for, score 30 goals and be a goal scorer. And so I know what those guys meant to me. So it was a real honor. And I love I don't get it much anymore, but I used to get it, and it was very special because it's hard to explain, but it made it feel so much more possible that the dream could come true when you've already seen other people that have done it before you as a kid.
That's awesome, buddy. And the amount of success you had, because that comes with a big weight. When you're the first in a certain category, it comes with a big weight. And about a year after you got the C, you led the Flames to the Stanley Cup final. This was a team that had missed the playoffs 7 straight seasons. You guys were only the 6th seed in the Western Conference that year, and you were leading the team back to the Stanley Cup final for the first time in 1989. What was that experience like for you?
Oh, it was easily one of the highlights of my career. And I get asked a lot, like, because it ended painful, right? Not to win, to be that close to winning a Stanley Cup.
Across the goal line, Iggy. I was there at the building and I saw that puck. I'm sure that puck went in the goal.
I agree with you. I mean, when you look at it after it did. I mean, it's hard to say it didn't. It did, but there's still a few minutes left, and who knows what would have happened. But was it meant to be? But it was hard. It was even there. Like when I say we're one goal away from winning the Stanley Cup, we were in overtime in Game 6 at home. That's one goal. You get that one goal. We lose in the final. The one goal you're talking about was earlier in that Game 6. and then in game 7 we lose by 1. You know, like it was to be that close really, really hurt. And it still stings for sure. But I'm thankful I got to do it because that team I got to be on and a part of, you know, when you hear coaches talk like, you know, if we can play to our full potential, or we can play and we're only playing 75% or stuff like that. That was a team that I felt like we played to our full potential. You know, like you look, guys gave everything, and you hear when people talk about it, but we weren't as talented as some of the groups, but we had different, you know, guys loved their roles or were good in the roles anyway. Like we had characters, we had, you know, it was, I could go through everybody. We got along so well. Reggie, Warner was a character, you know, like Sean Donovan was.
Daryl Sutter. He's a buddy of mine, and obviously a hugely important person in your life. From the outside, people look at him and go, "Man, that guy's crusty," but he's funny. He's got a great sense of humor, and he also doesn't shoot any crap. And something he said about you, which I thought really is indicative of you, said Jerome didn't just talk about competing. This is coming from Daryl Sutter. He showed every night he was the ultimate captain. What for somebody of his status say something like that about you?
No, that's very nice of him. And you're right though. He didn't, you know, I really liked him as a coach, and it wasn't always easy, and he didn't hold back. He would have those meetings. We had one time in Edmonton, and he would go around. We didn't have a pregame skate. He said, we're not going to pregame skate. We were in a little bit of a rut. And he said, we're going to watch the first period of our last game together in the stands. So our whole team gets around, we get the TV out, and we know it's going to be, oh, here we go. But the thing with Daryl is he did it. He had a sense of humor too. He has a sense of humor. So he would throw those like, hey, what are those? You know, he would say, whoa, watch this, rewind. I won't say who it would be. Go, watch this, the warrior that you are. And then he would be like some guy like, you know, let's go of a hit. And he go, play it back one more time. What, you know, is there eggshells under there? You know, eggs, you know, that he would be like, I couldn't even tell you. Some of them are obviously R-rated, but it was with humor. And so sometimes, and if he caught you laughing at a joke of somebody else's, he'd be like, what? And he was so quick-witted, and you were done. There was something he could find in your game, rip you apart. But that game, as soon as the puck dropped that night in Edmonton, fights everywhere. I'm almost 100% we won that game, and it was pretty fun as a team, you know. But it was fun when you're winning, but you knew you stood with them too. And if you weren't winning, it wasn't that fun.
You won a lot, my friend. You won a lot. And I'm so happy for you. You look like you're really happy and now enjoying. I know you're doing a lot of work with Connie with the Flames, but also enjoying your kids. I can't tell you how much I've appreciated this time, buddy. You telling stories. It's been just so fantastic. Before I let you go, we do something we call 5 fast facts. You up for it? I ask you 5 quick questions. You give me the first things that come to your mind. Okay. You up for it?
Sure.
All right. Time now for 5 fast facts with Hockey Hall of Famer, double Olympic gold medalist, Jerome Iginla. Iggy, who was the best teammate you ever played with?
Connie, I got to say, Connie's my boss now too.
Good. Politically correct answer. I appreciate that. Who was the best coach you ever played for?
Daryl Sutter.
Fair enough. Who was the toughest opponent you ever faced and why?
Probably Zdeno Chara. Happy I didn't have to face him that much, but he was so big, so strong, and his reach. Like I wasn't fast enough to get away from him, and I wasn't strong enough to out push him. So him, and he was mean if he got mad.
With his wingspan, Iggy, no one's going to get around him. So that was obvious. Listen, if you could, what is the one piece of advice you'd give yourself if you could go back and talk to a 15-year-old Jerome Iginla?
15. Oh my gosh, that's a hard one. 15. Oh my gosh. Can we come back?
You knew. What do you wish you knew as a 15-year-old that you know now and said that would have saved me a lot of grief?
Well, all the stress that all the every time you're, not winning, not scoring, not, all if you could tell yourself to relax a little bit. Whenever you're scoring, you always are relaxed, and whenever you're playing at your best, but that's a hard zone to get into. Um, I guess that's what I go with. So sorry, it's not a great answer.
Perfect. One last question for you. If you hadn't become a pro hockey player, what career do you think you would have had instead?
I think I'd be a lawyer. I love Matlock growing up, and my dad, my brother, my sister, they're lawyers. So, um, and I like debating, and sometimes to a fault, you hear some teammates like,
I can just see the firm now. Iginla, and Iginla. What is very good. Keith, thanks for this, buddy. It's been great catching up with you. Really appreciate you being so generous with your time.
There, thanks. Sorry, I had a better setup with the phone, and
Perfect.
I had I'm buying a stand, and that's what is gonna. I'm always lazy, and so I apologize. And I thought the iPad was gonna be the thing, and this is.
It was perfect.
I'm always fighting with these and these. No more. I'm getting a stand.
All right, buddy. Take care of yourself, my friend.
Good to see you.
The Overtime Podcast is proudly presented by Domino's Pizza. Hey, hockey fans, Domino's Pizza has game night covered. Mix and match any 2 or more of your favorites for only $8.99 each. With Domino's Mix and Match, everyone gets what they're craving. Order now online at domino's.ca or on the app. Hey, if you missed any parts of the show, don't worry. Visit our website at overtimepodcast.ca. The Domino's Pizza Overtime Podcast can be found on Spotify, iTunes Podcasts, or any of your favorite podcast platforms. And subscribe to us on YouTube so you'll know when we've got another NHL legend on the show. You can see us at O-Time Podcast. Until next time, I'm Gino Retta saying so long, hockey fans, and thanks for joining us on the Domino's Pizza Overtime Podcast.